I want to start by acknowledging the impressive work of so many fire departments that took what was a blazing inferno created by a plane with 38,000 gallons of fuel, of aviation fuel, and were able to contain it. It could have been significantly worse. And have in fact gotten the situation to where the shelter in place is now so much smaller than anyone would have predicted it would be at this time. Really incredible work by the fire departments. I want to start with the Okolona Fire Department, the main department responding. They've done an incredible job. The Louisville Fire Department, the Louisville Airport Fire Department, Fern Creek Fire Department, Pleasure Ridge Park Fire Department, Fairdale, Anchorage, Middletown, Jeffersontown, Zoneton, Mount Washington, Nichols, Lebanon Junction, Southeast Bullitt, LaGrange, Simpsonville, Lexington Fire Department, Bardstown, and Shepherdsville Fire Department. In addition, extra foam to fight the fire came from the Lexington Airport, from CVG, and from Bardstown. In total, over 50 trucks responded. Again, a surge of resources to respond to a very significant explosion and fire. But what that does is it means that all of those available resources are pushed to the site. But through careful planning and through more efforts, we made sure we backfilled the departments that were at the scene. So we want to thank the following fire departments for backfilling to make sure that everyone else was protected during the surge of resources. We want to thank the Vine Grove Fire Department, West Point, Simpsonville, Shelby County. I want to thank other first responders that include the Kentucky National Guard, Kentucky Office of Homeland Security, Louisville EMA, the Airport Police Department, Louisville Metro Police Department, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, St. Matthews Police Department, Shively Police Department, Kentucky State Police, Louisville Metro EMS, the Metro Sewer District, Louisville Gas and Electric, Kentucky Emergency Management, Kentucky Emergency Management Urban Search and Rescue Task Force 1, Kentucky ERC-ERT, the Jefferson County Emergency Management, the Jefferson County Coroner, the National Weather Service, the FBI, and there are more. There have been over 200 first responders that were on the scene last night, and there is a significant amount of resources in the search and rescue, and ultimately what is probably by now the recovery effort that is occurring. I want to thank everybody who was working overnight when it was dangerous, when there was other flammable or explosive materials, but they were searching to try to find any and all survivors and to locate any bodies to try to give families the closure that they deserve. As of this time, we can confirm that there have been 9 fatalities, but I'm now fairly confident that that number will grow by at least 1. We hope it doesn't grow by too many more. I believe by this afternoon we'll have a pretty good grasp of both the number of fatalities and, if there are any, the number of missing persons that we're still looking for. Remember, there's a Victim Family Reunification Center at the Louisville Metro Police Training Academy, which remains open. That address is 2911 Taylor Boulevard. As of last night, there had been 16 different families there. I think the mayor's providing an update where that number may now have shrank. At least information I'm getting is those families may not line up with the hospital patients, which means we've got to continue to search that site, hope and pray for the best, but know there may be more loss of life that we're going to learn about today. 2 businesses were directly impacted: Kentucky Petroleum Recycling and Grade A Auto Parts. Thankfully, a local restaurant that is right there that we had great concern would be impacted and we would lose whoever was in it, was missed and now is helping the search and rescue. We're grateful for them. Another blessing is this plane could have potentially hit the major Ford factory or the convention center. Those are all close by and did not. The radius for the shelter in place has been significantly reduced. Louisville Metro is putting out guidance to residents and businesses immediately around the crash site to not consume water. EEC, the Energy and Environment Cabinet, is working closely with the city on this. Other areas are safe. Now, if you are in the suburbs, if you're in other parts of Louisville, you are as safe today as you've been any other day. The air is fine, your water is fine, but that immediately around the crash site, we're just trying to be very careful. In new news today, following yesterday's events, I'm declaring a state of emergency to help us deal with this plane crash. It allows us to move resources more quickly through emergency management and the Kentucky National Guard. It allows state resources to be used also through our agencies to be readily available, including disaster resource management, expenses related to response, and more, as well as reimbursement. It's going to help to make sure that groups that are already limited in terms of their funding can get some immediate or short-term help as they wait for reimbursement for the costs that they've expended. Additionally, I've taken action to establish the Team Kentucky Emergency Relief Fund to help those affected by this terrible event. The URL for this site is going to be on the screen. Similar to previous storm disaster funds, every dollar donated will go directly to those affected. In fact, what we've done is we've gone and amended the Team Kentucky Storm Relief Fund to now allow families impacted by a disaster like this to also benefit from the generosity of Kentuckians. Remember, the first thing that we pay for out of these funds are funerals, so that in a time of grief, nobody is worried about that. In Kentucky, we grieve together and we support one another. Donations will help pay for funerals and for response, recovery, and rebuilding. All right, while Kentucky is responding to this crisis in Louisville following yesterday's deadly plane crash, we must also remember the challenges that our families are facing due to a lack of SNAP benefits brought on by the Trump administration. This is a program that was under attack early by the president following the big, ugly bill. That's why in June I wrote a letter to Kentucky's congressional delegation urging them to consider the harmful impacts of this legislation and how it would hit our people, because SNAP is crucial for Kentucky. In our Commonwealth, over 600,000 Kentuckians rely on SNAP. That's 1 of 8 of our people, many of which are kids. These families need this support to avoid going hungry. But on October 1st, the federal shutdown began, and this now, today, marks the longest shutdown in the history of our country. From the start of the shutdown, the president made it clear that this program would be at risk. In fact, the Trump administration stopped the federal government from paying out SNAP benefits for November and also stopped states from flowing state funds through SNAP to pay out those benefits. And that's despite the USDA's website saying that he could fund SNAP benefits even in a shutdown. Americans should never be a negotiating tool. And I am committed to taking action to do what we can to stand up for our people. So on October 20th, I announced that while we were exploring options for SNAP, we had 2 updates that would help many who rely on this program. First, after learning our area development districts had exhausted the nearly $10